Hi, my name is Emma Kate Prochazka. The concert that I watched is Hamilton by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and the date that I watched this was July 13th, 2026. To begin, the first song that stuck out to me was My Shot, and this talks about, or the center focus of this is about Hamilton and growing up in poverty and him being an orphan, and how coming to America, he believes that he has his shot, his chance to make something of himself, and he's not going to throw that away. This song is very ambitious. It's very happy and determined and self acceptance in a sense. The second song is the Schuyler Sisters. This introduces the Schuyler Sisters, Angelica, Elizabeth, and Peggy. In Hamilton, Elizabeth goes by Eliza. So this song talks about them going into New York during the early days of the Revolution and really introduces them. It doesn't really do much more than that besides just introduce them and their personalities and gets everything excited for the story. The third song is towards the end, and this is Burn. And this is Elizabeth finding out that Hamilton publicly admitted to cheating on her by publishing the Reynolds pamphlet. So she was very hurt, and she takes all of his notes and letters and she burns them. And she's saying that she's erasing herself from the narrative and that she doesn't want to be remembered or associated with Hamilton, and that she was just embarrassed. So that song is about hurt and sadness and anger, and she's trying to find herself because the person that she loves most just admitted to everybody that he cheated on her. So the fourth song is Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story. This is the very last song in Hamilton, and I feel like it is one of the most meaningful songs in this concert. This explains that legacy is not just what about you accomplish, whether that be an award or a title, but it is how people remember you and how your story is told after you are gone. So this song talks about Hamilton and how different people in his lives, like George Washington or Thomas Jefferson, and how they remembered him. And who lives, who dies, and who tells your story is a piece is it's summed up when you're in like by people who are talking about him and who's telling your story, and how depending on who's telling your story can tell people can misconstrue who you are or can lead to the truth of who you are. So what I saw or heard, instruments wise, I heard piano, violin, cello, and a drum set. The music in Hamilton is very modern. It uses modern music tools, but it also uses classical music tools, which I feel like is a good rendition of Hamilton, and it makes the soundtrack and the songs enjoyable and upbeat, but yet some of them can be slow and romantic or sad or angry or happy. And with those combined instruments, it allows for the story of Hamilton to be told in many different ways. The performers were very passionate. They had excellent expression. They make you feel constantly included in the show. There were some points in the concert where the performers were interacting with the crowd and making them feel like they were right there in that story. But you could definitely tell with how they were performing and their facial expressions that they were really into the show and that they were 110% putting their effort into it. So the event, new aspects for me was finding out that Hamilton cheated on his wife and then made it public. I didn't know that he made it public by posting or publishing the Reynolds pamphlet. I didn't know that. So that was new. But I did know that he did cheat on his wife. But the Reynolds pamphlet I did not know about. So that was interesting. Familiarities was definitely the duel between Hamilton and Burr. Being in history class and learning about Hamilton and how he helped build America from build America, and that was that helped me already know about the duel. Unexpected aspects. This to me was Aaron Burr having an affair with a woman married to a British soldier. I had no idea about that. That was 100% unexpected. What I learned was no matter how much you accomplish in life, people will only remember how you treated them. And that I feel like is a really good lesson for many people. The event ended with, of course, Hamilton dying after the duel. And it differed from the beginning because Hamilton had just come from Nevis, I want to say. I don't know if that's 100% right on the country pronunciation. So forgive me if I could have that wrong. But he comes there, he's fresh, he's new, he has all these ideas, and he's wanting to put them to work. He wants to help build up America and get it going. And in the end, he's accomplished so much. He's achieved the first Bank of America. He's achieved helping write the Federalist Papers. He's helped with George Washington and the Revolution. And so he's grown so much from beginning to end. And at the end, people are remembering those bits and pieces of what he did and how he treated them. So that was really interesting to watch. So my overall reaction, I loved Hamilton. I loved how the music sounded modern, but it was focused on history. A lot of times when you're learning about history, it can sometimes be boring depending on what topic you're talking about or just personal preference. But the music and the actors, it was all of it together just made this show so enjoyable and made you want to keep watching. You didn't want to stop watching. What I would like to know more about is definitely Peggy Schuyler in Hamilton. You don't really hear much about her. You know that she loves her sisters and she's very excited about life and being in New York and being in London. But I would like to know a little bit more about her and her story. I would also like to know more about Hamilton's daughter. Hamilton's son mentions that he's a sister, but we don't really hear much about her. So I would definitely like to know a little bit more about her. Thank you for your time.